What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? NoZoupForYou here, and today I have a review of the Tier 6 Brazilian destroyer Jurua. And this should be a fairly straightforward and simple review because this ship is a clone of the Gallant, the British destroyer of the same tier. Same everything, same make, same model, same this, same that. But since it's been a while since the Gallant has come out, I'm going to go ahead and go over the stats just the same in case you don't have the Gallant and might be interested in this Brazilian destroyer. But first, I want to go over a little bit of the history of this destroyer, and this is where I need a little bit of your help, possibly. Those of you that are deep into history, because even though this ship in-game is the Jurua, and it is numbered J3, I really can't find much information about this ship whatsoever. So I'm starting to wonder if this was a what-if type of ship, which I understand. I mean, Brazil, I'm sure, is really hungering for some more ships in the game. The whole Pan-South American ships, the Pan-American, and this just happens to fit the bill loosely. So what happened with these ships originally, Brazil ordered 5 of the H-class destroyers from Great Britain in the late 30s, right around 1937. Britain started producing 5 of these, but the outbreak of World War II kind of changed the course of things, and Great Britain purchased them in September of 1939. So the Jurua was essentially renamed HMS Harvester, and it never made it into the hands of Brazil. So I don't know if this is a completely different ship or not. I have no evidence that this ship ever made it to Brazil, was ever numbered J3 in real life, though it, I guess, hypothetically would have been J3 had it made it to Brazil, but we don't know because that never happened. As far as I can tell, historically. Now, they did come up with their own class, it appears, much later down the line, the Jurua class of destroyers, or at least from what I've seen, something similar to that, but completely different from the H-class destroyers, completely different from the Harvester, and this ship in particular, and especially the Gallant. So, for those of you out there that know a little more about history, I know a lot about history and how to research it, but those of you who have actually researched this particular ship or this class of ships, if you happen to know any more details about the situation with this outside of Wikipedia, because the depths of Wikipedia only go so deep, I'd be really appreciative if you could give us a little more background information on the Jurua, which happens to be named after a river in Brazil. So, yeah, thanks to that if any of you do jump on that. But let's go into the stats real quick of the Jurua, and then I'll tell you what I think about the ship, which probably going to be close to what I said about the Gallant, though it's been quite a while since I played that. Survivability on it is going to be 12,000 hit points, so you're not dealing with a lot of hit points here at all. Of course, this is a Tier 6 destroyer, so I really wouldn't expect that. Artillery, you've got 4 120mm guns, so you don't have a lot of firepower on your decks, but once again, Tier 6. Firing range of 12.2 kilometers. That, of course, is adding some commander skills to get it that far. If you don't do that, you're at about 10 kilometers, and I don't think you'd like that. I highly recommend if you get this ship boosting your range and focusing on that over the torpedoes. You can do a mix. You can do a mix of torpedo reload and then main battery firing range. I don't think the reload is really worth it, the minus 5%. Your reload's 5 seconds as it is. I don't really think that 5% wasting a 3-point commander skill is going to do that much for you, so I would just stick with what I just said. Torpedoes on this ship, I got mine up to 67 knots using every single speed boost possible. 8-kilometer range, while that doesn't seem like a lot, you're probably playing high tier a lot. And 8 kilometers at tier 6 is pretty much the average, pretty much respectable, perfectly fine. And again, getting this thing up to 67 knots, pretty good. AA defense, don't look for it. You don't have any, not even worth covering that. Maneuverability, 37.8 knots with Sierra Mikes. You're a pretty quick destroyer right there. turning circle radius of 540 meters with 2.4 second rudder shift, and I did put the rudder module on this. I've been choosing that a lot over propulsion lately on my destroyers, just because I think it's kind of invaluable to be able to turn on a dime, or at least quicker. And I'm finding that with, you know, propulsion, it really just kind of gives you a false sense of security when you're sitting in smoke. And I don't like sitting in smoke too often, though I do for a little bit in this round, I think, if I recall. So there you go on that. Concealment, you're looking at 6 kilometers, and that's getting it as low as possible. And it's definitely not the best in class, but definitely not the worst either. Kind of middling at that. So those are the stats on the Jurua, and let's talk about the ship in general. The Gallant, I found to be a decent little ship. I mean, I don't think it's spectacular, but it's not horrible. It's serviceable. It's adequate. You can have good rounds in it. This round, I kind of surprised myself. I wasn't expecting to come in first place on my team or out of both teams, but I did anyways. I don't feel like I did a lot of damage, but I guess when you take out an Akazuki, you know, that helps a little bit, though I wasn't able to finish off the New Mexico towards the end of this round. I kind of got flustered when he popped up, and I flubbed my torpedo shots. I only hit him with 3 or 4 of them, as opposed to nailing him with all of them, which at that range I really should have, but you know what? We're not going to talk about that. So, you know, I thought the Gallant was an okay ship. This is basically the exact same thing. So the Jurua, by extension, is okay. It's a decent little destroyer as well. You can have fun in it. You know, it might not be as good as something like the T-61, but then again, few ships are. So if you're looking for a ship, if you're down in South America, Brazil, got that Brazilian pride going, you want something to represent, you won't be disappointed with this ship, especially at Tier 6. I mean, you'll if you're a destroyer main, you'll be able to make this work. You'll have good rounds with her. Don't expect something super duper though, but you know, she's good. She's not great, she's not horrible, she's good. So anyhow, that is my review on the Jurua. Hope you all are doing wonderful. Take it easy. Zoop out.